There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotion had an echo in so much space. When you out there without care, I was out of tune. But it wasn't because I didn't know, no. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Possibly. And I hope that you're having the time of your life. Think twice.
Hey, everybody. It's a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. I know I did say, what time did I say? Did I say 13:45? It's 13, is it? 13:47 now. You have to keep in mind that this is Simoson building. Nothing is as what it appears to be. Okay. So when I say 13:45, that can mean anywhere between now and rapture. All right, real quick, let's get into it. I think this is worth talking about as usual. And you see, we're living in an age now where things happen so fast that you have to do everything within your power to keep up with the pace of information that's coming out. And of course, I know that there's certain people that are not able to respond in real time. Real time meaning as soon as it happens, there's a response. That's not always possible. But there are people like myself who follow these things closely, and I sort of sprinkle my own dust on it and give you my take on what's going on. And it's in the public domain. And I think, like I said, it's worth talking about. So let's talk about it. As many of you know, the former First Lady, Mrs. Esther Lungu, has just been arrested and detained at a police station in the Ibex Hill area. And in fine fashion, all the top brass of the NPF, the Notorious Patriotic Front, they all went to Esther Lungu's aid in escorting her to the station. Upon getting there, upon arriving at the station over there in Ibex Hill, she was subsequently charged and arrested, given 4 counts, and I'm going to go through them so that you know exactly what we're talking about. Now, guys, as I always say, please, when you follow these things, always look at the bigger picture. I know that the NPF would try to mislead you by saying, no, this is a scapegoat. This administration is trying to divert attention from the issue of Miu Miu. That's never the truth. And that's being disingenuous. It's like you and I sitting at a restaurant, and all of a sudden we witness a burglary. We witness somebody commit a crime. And then somebody brings that crime to our attention, and we say, no, let's not talk about that crime. Let's talk about the price of mealie meal. Or it's like witnessing a terrible accident on Cairo Road as it happens. And then you say, hey, did you see that? Did you see that accident? And then somebody says to you, no, let's not talk about that accident you've just seen. Let us just discuss the price of meal meal. That's what the NPF are doing. They're trying to water down the seriousness of these crimes. That's what it is. This is an attempt. This is a blatant attempt at the top brass leadership of the PF to try and convince you that the issues surrounding the former First Lady are inconsequential, they're irrelevant, they're not important. When we know they are important, they are relevant, and they are worth taking a closer look at. You guys must understand that. So let's go through this, because when you don't look at this in its entirety, if you simply look at it in sound bites, the sound bites that the NPF provide you, you lose track of what this thing is all about. So let's look at it. By Esther Lungu, former First Lady, 4 counts. It's not like she went to the police station and the police decided, you know what, let's just hold you. Sure, people might be upset, but we're just going to detain you here for the sake of doing it. And the NPF are so foolish to try and insinuate that HH is sitting at a desk in his office calling the police saying, make sure you go and detain Esther Lungu. First of all, guys, you must understand that there's a component in these 4 charges that came out of a family-related complaint. And you're blaming this administration. A family issue that was taken to the police, that was ultimately brought out into the public domain. And then you guys are so foolish. When I say you guys, I'm talking about the NPF. The NPF are so foolish as to suggest that the family that complained, somehow that becomes HH's fault. No, that's being disingenuous. It's being misleading, and you're not being honest. So let's walk through the counts. 4 counts. The first count, motor vehicle theft, a very serious charge. And we know the origin of this law. This law came about during the Chiluba era. It's a long story, but basically some guy offended Bachiluba, so Bachiluba convinced Parliament to create this law. And according to the law, as far as I know, this became a non-bondable, non-bailable offense. Theft of motor vehicles, as far as I know, well, at least during the Chiluba era, if you stole a car, they would not give you bail. You would not be granted bail. Okay, so this is the number one. This is charge number 1, theft of motor vehicles. Okay, and there are 3 cars in question. All right, we're not going to go into the details of the cars. Just know that the first charge is theft of motor vehicles. Secondly, certificate of title of a property in Libala, possession of a certificate of title of a property in Libala. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, possession of $400,000 suspected to be proceeds of crime. Okay, that's number 3. Sorry, I keep doing this because I have the flu, but I did take something for the flu. Okay. Number 3. Number 4, possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime. Proceeds of crime. These are the charges. So when you look at the charges, it's got nothing to do with diverting attention from mealie meal. We all agree the price of mealie meal is high. Heck, even I agree it is. It's high. It's high. Okay, the cost of living is high. But this, when it comes to the arrest, the subsequent charging of former First Lady, this issue with former First Lady has got nothing to do with mealie meal. It's got nothing to do with that. So don't mix the two. And don't listen to these NPF scoundrels when they try to convince you that, no, this is an attempt to divert attention from the issue of meal. That's so dwanzy. Only shallow thinking people are convinced by that type of gutter politics. I mean, imagine for a moment, I've given the example, and for those of you that are just now joining us, allow me please to give the example again. Allow me to reiterate. It's like you and I sitting at a restaurant and we witness a crime. We witness a thief breaking into a store or a bank. And then somebody comes up to us and says, did you see that guy commit that crime? And then we say, no. Let's not talk about that breaking, that crime. Let's just discuss meal. Well, the two issues are unrelated. They're unrelated. If you're going to talk about meal, discuss meal. But if you're going to talk about charges that have been brought up and charges that have been meted out to the former First Lady, discuss those charges. Talk about the details of those charges. Unravel those charges. Don't sit there and say things like, no, I am a charges ayo. Instead of judging first lady with these charges, I think the important thing is let's discuss Mew Mew. Very shallow, you're simpletons is what you are. You're simpletons, you NPF clowns. How dare you take the Zambian people for granted? If there's a crime committed, guess what? The local, not local authority, the legal authority deals, the relevant, that's what I wanted to say, the relevant authority deals with the issue. And the relevant authority in this case is the police, the investigative wings. They deal with it. But for you to sit there and try to dismiss it as a simple attempt by the current administration to create a smokescreen or to divert attention from the cost from the high cost of living, you're being disingenuous. You're talking about two different issues. The Zambian people are not that Dwansi. We are to a degree, but not that Dwansi. Okay. All right. Now, there's something else I want to talk to you about that Raphael Nakachinda said, and I must tell you, this is serious. Some of you may not understand how serious this is, but it is. Raphael Nakachinda has been courting trouble for a while. And let me tell you, as a citizen that has lived for a little over half a century, I'm not a spring chicken. I didn't just show up today. I've lived many years. I've seen many moons, okay? More than 50 years I've lived. I've seen them come and go. And I'm speaking to you as someone that has seen every single administration from the inception of this nation. You know, I was there when Dr. Kaunda was president. I've been alive since Dr. Kenneth Kaunda up to date. So I've seen all the presidents. I've seen all the administrations. There are many of you that are watching me now. You've never experienced all the administrations. You've never experienced or lived under the administration of all 7 presidents. Some of you, Nibabidifia or 2. I've been through all of them. So I am in a position to tell you or to sort of share with you my concerns when it comes to this one Raphael Nakachinda and what he is trying to subliminally fan. He's trying to, in a very roundabout, very skullduggery way he's trying to fan a tribal conflict. Raphael Nakachinda's tribal sentiments or tribal statement today in Ibex Hill, he used this phrase. He said, there is a tribal Kabba. Now, the word Kabba is an Arabic word, and what it means it's like an elitist group. So when you say tribal Kabba, what you're saying is an elite tribal group. According to Raphael Nakachinda, and he's been doing this for a while. You know, he does it incrementally. Okay, let's go ahead and put it out there and say it that way. He does it incrementally, and he does it in doses. If he dispatched a certain dose last week, he'll dispatch a higher dose this week. And he's doing it in plain sight. Today, he used this phrase, there is a tribal Kabba that has been sent by HH to deal with members of the opposition. That's what Raphael Nakachinda said. Now, in plain English, let me tell you what Raphael Nakachinda said, or what he meant. What he meant was, there is a group of Tongas that have been sent by Hakainde Hichilema to deal with opposition leaders. Now, my brothers and sisters, that is very inflammatory. That is a potent recipe for tribal division. When you have these opposition leaders, especially the likes of Raphael Nakachinda, in order for you to understand the weightiness, okay, the word weighty, the heaviness of this statement, you have to understand Raphael Nakachinda's background. Nakachinda is a spoiler. He's a deviant. He's a political deviant. a man that is hell-bent on doing nothing but sowing the seeds of division, discourse, chaos, and anguish. So when this type of man wears a political title and he spews political jargon and junk, tribal junk like this, where he says there is a tribal Kabba, a tribal elite group of Tongas that are assigned by Hakainde Hichilema to deal with members of the opposition. What you're hearing Nakachinda say is HH has got a tribal agenda, which is absolutely not true. Guys, during the campaign, during the run-up to the campaign, this is something that the NPF tried to stick on Hakainde Hichilema. They failed. Tribal tag. They tried left, right, center, they sent one of their high-ranking lieutenants, who crisscrossed this nation, and he tried to preach this message of tribalism, and it failed. It failed because the Zambian people saw Hakainde Hichilema for who he is. If truly Hakainde Hichilema was a tribalist, trust me, the Zambian people would have seen through that a long time ago. By PF, by NPF, they tried, they failed. They failed miserably to try and stick the tag of tribalism on Hakainde Hichilema. They failed. So here it is today. You still have remnants like Raphael, who still insist on spewing this type of nonsense. Brothers and sisters, let me warn you, let me inform you, first of all, do you realize that in Rwanda, you cannot use the word Hutu and Tutsi. You get arrested. Did you know that? Tell me in the comments if you know that. Tell me in the comments if you know that. And I want to make a point. There's a point I'm trying to drive home. In Rwanda today, 2023, September 2023, if you use the word, just the word, if you speak the words, if you say the words Hutu and the Tutsi, Bamanga, they arrest you. The word that you are supposed to use is Rwandese or Rwandan. You cannot say Hutu and Tutsi. Why? Because Kagame knows the history and the tribal potency of those words. Words, the word of God says, life and death are within the power of the tongue. When you use words like that, when you weaponize words, and give the words a tribal slant, guess what? You're courting trouble. So in the same way, in Rwanda, it is against the law to even say Hutu, Tutsi, Vakumanga, Iwakufiantaiwe. In the same way, the direction we need to start going as a people, as a Zambian people, when these political idiots like Raphael Nakachinda, who insist on using tribal sentiments in their political endeavors, these idiots are playing with fire. Listen, we're not going to let you get away with it, Raphael. You play with fire, guess what? You're going to get burnt, brother. You're going to get burnt. We are not going to allow you to fan the flames of tribalism while we sit on our laurels with our arms folded and our eyes wide shut. We're not doing it. I warn you, Nakachinda. You keep talking like that, you're going to meet your comeuppance. You keep talking like that, you're going to drop the ball. You keep talking like that. Trust me, you're going to be sorry. You are. Bottom line, this nation is bigger than you. This country is bigger than your political personal ambitions. You must understand that. Zambia will be here long after you are dead and gone, and you will be a forgotten rumor. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. And Raphael, if you don't like this, you can jump through this. You can jump through this. We're not going to allow you to divide this nation on tribal lines. Bottom line. Okay. Thought I'd share that with you. A couple of comments before we go further. Somebody says, we know about Rwanda's story. Yes, it's against the law to say those words in Rwanda. They arrest you immediately because they know the consequences of that. They've come from a history of tribal turmoil, 100 days of horror where brother rose up against brother and they started killing each other. But here in Zambia, you're playing with fire. When people like Raphael Nakachinda says such foolish comments, tribal Kabba, idiot. All right. The tribal route is very bad coming from the NPF. Absolutely. Absolutely. All righty. I thought I'd share that with you. Have a great lunch. Talk to you later. Bye.